Our guest this week, Irene Crowchild, overcame tremendous obstacles to become the first Indigenous woman to compete in the Canadian Women's Long Drive Championships. And she won it. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show, coming up! Welcome to the program. Today's guest is a member of Tsuut'ina Nation, former hockey player, recovered from addiction, first Indigenous athlete to compete in the Canadian Women's Long Drive Championship, first Indigenous athlete to win the Canadian title. She's a two-time Canadian Long Drive champion, recently competed at the World Championships in Nakagawa, Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, the boys and girls, welcome to the program, Irene Crowchild. Irene, great to have you here.
Oh, good morning, Joe. Thanks for having me.
This is awesome. Very pleased. Now, so tell me, what was it like to grow up in Tsuut'ina Nation for Irene Crowchild?
It was definitely a quiet life. I grew up on the west side of Tsuut'ina Nation, so I was not near the city. I spent a lot of time outdoors, and yeah, it was a quiet childhood because I was also like raised by my grandmother, and honestly, like an only child. Like I do have siblings, but my grandmother raised me on her own.
So how did that come about? How did you end up being raised by your grandmother?
Just I think it's like really common in indigenous communities that our grandparents are like, do become our parents. I can definitely say like with the generations nowadays that they're kind of like breaking that cycle. I think if we like just talking from like personal experience, my story is like my parents have their story and their like struggles, and so they weren't able to like take care of me, and that's where like my grandmother stepped in, and that's when she made the decision to like to raise me, to take me in, to uh, kind of give me like a better, like, let's say like a better life.
I read a lot of the stories written about you and a few of the stories written about you. And you talk about intergenerational trauma, and you talk about your grandmother and being raised in the residential school system. What kind of an effect did that have, well, on her and you, I guess, would be the question.
Um, I think like for myself, it was definitely like growing up with, I forget what the three are, but it's like don't speak, don't cry, don't feel, right? Um, I could definitely say she absolutely did like the best that she could, like considering what like residential school had like has done to her. Um, but I don't want like anyone to like pity her because she's just this amazing, loving like woman. And throughout my years of like a child, teenager to like being becoming a woman, like we've done like a lot of healing together. So like yeah, there's intergenerational trauma, but there's also intergenerational healing. And I think like I'm very fortunate to have my grandmother, I guess, like heal with me, or like heal together. Yeah.
How important is it for you to reconnect with your Indigenous roots?
Um,
Sorry, did you catch that question? I mean, how important was it for you to reconnect with your Indigenous roots and you talked about healing together with your grandmother.
well, to be honest, like I was always very connected. It wasn't until addictions that I disconnected from like everything. And I think you yourself can understand that, that, while in an active addiction, you just don't care for anything. And it wasn't until like me going to treatment that that's kind of when I did reconnect with like my traditional like roots, or like, that way of life. And um, that had such a big impact on my healing and me reconnected with like family again.
Right. And I, you mentioned my journey as well. Like I know that when I was in active addiction, I really just was completely lost and unable to connect anywhere with
Mhm.
anybody in any true sense. Right. Just the obsession, compulsion, and everything else. You're just driven that way. But what place did you come to? Where did you come to? Tell us about like reaching bottom and how you realized it, how you came to realize that something had to change.
For myself, it was, I would say that last year, just like overall, I was like a functioning alcoholic at this point, where, well, not like I was, but like not really, because for me, it was like the binge drinking. It was me, like, you know, when you're at a workplace, like people do notice that you go missing for like a week or two or three or like a month. And it was like, I'm surprised I wasn't fired like sooner. But, um, like, thank goodness, because it all plays a part. Like it all plays a role on the last year there. But um, I I think it was 6 months before I went to treatment is when I had like my first like suicide attempt, and that really like opened my eyes, because like with me missing work, um, my dad was the one that was like, "Hey, like, why don't you think of treatment?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't need it." I was very much in denial of like, "No, I don't need the help. Like, I'll be okay." But it was after that first, like, yeah, that first attempt, that's where it kind of like really opened my eyes. Like, you know what? Like, what am I doing here? What's going on? Like, why do I feel like this? It, like, I've never really, how do you say it? Like, I never had those thoughts before. So
Mhm.
to, I guess like have those thoughts, but then to do it, that's where it was like, yeah, that's what kind of like opened my eyes and made me question, like, maybe I should go to treatment. But like I said, it was 6 months before treatment, so a lot in that time had happened. And it was just like a downfall, definitely a downfall. uh, just like I was just breaking every bridge that I had. I I don't know, like I just was like losing everything and everyone. Like my mom wasn't even like, we weren't even talking. Me and my dad weren't even talking. The only person from my family that I was talking to was like my grandfather. And like my family had to make that tough decision to like stop enabling me, which I'm really thankful that like that they did that, because that also contributes to my decision. But something there happened on the last binge that just kind of like opened my eyes, and like like yeah, it just, something just needed to change at that point.
Yeah, that's there's the book that a lot of us refer to. It has a line in there from the co-author, uh, "How dark it is before the dawn." Right? We think it's
Hmm.
things are pretty bleak, right? And then when you look back at where you are today and where you were then, I mean, what I know for me I was stuck, right, thinking that sooner, maybe someday I'm going to be able to do this on my own, someday I'm going to figure this thing out, someday I'm going to really try hard and I'll be able to do this. But when you make that decision, was it like an intervention? Is that what kind of happened with your family? You said they stopped enabling you, but which was obviously huge.
Um, uh, Not really. Like, um, where okay, so they did do some behind the scenes work for me. Like, my mom has uh, a like drug and alcohol counselor friend, and I guess she talked to him to talk to me. Uh, yeah, and then my grandpa, like I was missing at this point, but my grandpa, just from talking to people, found out where I was that day, or that past those few weeks there, and he actually came and grabbed me that day. But you know what's crazy about that morning is the night before, I was like praying so hard. I was like, I didn't have my phone, I didn't have my car, I didn't have my wallet, and like nobody had a phone, and so I was just kind of, man, how am I gonna get home? How do I leave this? Like, I'm tired, like I'm done, and s- just things just happen, and I'm really thankful. My grandpa, yeah, 10 a.m. that next morning, he was knocking on the door and he was like, "Grab your clothes, let's go." And I was like, "All right, let's go." And he's like, "We're just gonna bring someone by to talk to you." And like at this point, I already made up my mind about treatment. I already was like, you know what, if I can't do it on myself right now, obviously, or I can't do it by myself, obviously, right now. Like, if I keep hearing this word treatment, I keep hearing like I need help, or with my drinking, and that I kind of I just like surrendered, right? And uh, yeah, so when the drug and alcohol counselor showed up, I was just like, "Where's the papers? Like, what do I have to
Mhm.
sign? When do I get to go?" And he's like, I didn't think you wanted to go." And I was like, "Well, you're here." And like, because like, like as I've worked in the field too, right? And as like somebody that is assisting someone to go to treatment, it has to be the person that's asking for the help, not the family. And so usually in most cases when it's the family asking, you to come see somebody, you're like, well, it doesn't sound like they want to go if you're asking, right? So
Mhm.
he was very shocked. And but yeah, so that's kind of how I like got signed up and went to treatment.
Yeah, that's. I remember the day too, and I mean, when I picked up the phone to call the treatment center, I mean, I had no intention of doing so before that. But you talked about, asking for help. You talked about, praying, and I knew that people were praying for me. But when I was in my buddy's one bedroom basement apartment, crashing and burning, I guess, when you reach out and make that call, things can change pretty quickly. And
Hmm.
and of course, I work in the addictions field now too, and it's you're absolutely right. That person has to make that decision to reach out for help, to at least believe that something can happen, and there could be a way out, because it does seem pretty awesome, pretty awful, before you get to that point. Um, so you went to treatment, and I guess, like a lot of us, you bought into what they were telling you, right? Like it made sense to you. Is that what happened?
Oh yeah, they totally sold me on it. No, honestly, honestly, yes. Like, it was for me. I never. grasp or like even understood the word like healing on an emotional and mental like and spiritual side of it. I only knew of like the physical meaning of healing or only understood that. And so like I had no clue what treatment was. Like I thought it was gonna be some like mind games, not like something
Mhm.
to like hear me. And so I didn't know what to expect. And when they like started teaching like me about myself, and they started like teaching, going through the process of like healing through our traumas, right? And that's kind of like it's just crazy. I think it was like week 2 or week 3 that I think it was week 2 or 3 that like it was the first time that I was able to like look in the mirror and to be proud of like who I am. And that was just such a big like breakthrough for myself because I was just like I think you could relate too, just like filled with like a lot of self hate, shame, embarrassment, like super super weak. And it was nice to feel like to be proud of myself. Like it's been like how many years, and it's just like a big snowball effect. Just things kept on getting better. I kept on getting better. And it's kind of crazy. My first like my thought about treatment was like, this doesn't work, well, I don't know what will. And so like right from the get-go, I trusted the process because I like like on the real, I told myself, well, like if I don't like sober up or help myself here, I'm just gonna come back and do it right. And yeah, so like I had no choice to trust what they were teaching me because, like obviously what I was doing at that time wasn't working. And so I just like put full belief into what they were teaching me, like 150%. And I'm really glad that I did because it's been an amazing journey since then.
Yeah, yeah. The self realization, the truth, like getting honest with myself and understanding what my problem really is, and but this this self discovery that happens as a result of the process, or happens in the process of recovery. All those you talked about, those feelings of self hatred and not being worthy and not being enough and everything else, and that starts to change as we start to discover who we are and come to that realization. You know what? I am who I am, and it's enough, right? It's just good enough. And
Mhm.
getting to that place where you can be, comfortable in your own skin and being okay with who you are. And this is what the process helps us to get to. So now you're doing you're we're working through the self discovery. I mean, we get a chance to get right with ourselves, we get a chance to get right with others and make amends, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now you decide that you're going to uh, pursue a career in golf, golf related anyway. How did that come about? How did you end up with this idea that you could be a golfer or a long drive uh, golfer?
uh, you know what? Like, I didn't think about the career until like this year, but I thought to jump into the sport of long drive or like or long drive golf, but like long drive back in uh 2017 winter. Like, I you're well aware that the indigenous like golf tournaments are huge up north. And that's kind of where I found myself this summer or that summer, that I came home from treatment. And I was out driving the ladies with a 4 iron and a hybrid. And so, like, yeah, it was really sweet. I wasn't using a driver then, I was too wild. But I had a friend like come up to me after one of the tournaments, like kind of at the end of the season. And she's like, Irene, like, you're one of the longest hitters in southern Alberta. And then I don't know, like just something about that conversation, and like it just kind of like, I think I was driving home, and it kind of like clicked for me of like, you know what? How could I be the best if I'm not competing against the best? And I had this dream when I was 16 to be a Canadian ladies long drive champion, and that kind of popped into my head. And I was like, you know what? I think that's something that I want to, like. I want to give it a go. And yeah, the following week, I went home. I told my mom, and she's my grandmother, but I told my mom like what I wanted to do, and she's just like, okay, well, like, okay, let's go for it. Like, yeah, like my mom believes me, but she just kind of was like she was supportive. And yeah, I just like started going to the gym Monday to Friday. Was hitting golf balls Saturday to Sunday, like in minus 30 weather. We're at Golf Futures. Well, when it was Golf Canada, but Golf Futures now. And yeah, that's how I got into the sport, and like that's how I like started. I guess like that's how I started my long drive journey.
So, who would you say was inspired you the most? In your pursuit of your career in long drive.
I would say definitely in the beginning, like having that dream of being a Canadian ladies long drive champion was Lisa Longball, just because like when I was golfing over at Buffalo Run, a member asked me if I knew who she was. And I was like, no, I don't. Like, I think I remember asking him, like, is that her real name? Like, what the hell? But he just kind of laughed and he's like, no, no, no. Like, she's like, at the time, I think her 3-time or 4-time Canadian ladies long drive champion. And uh, yeah, anyway, like I Googled her and everything. That's when I found out about the Canadian ladies long drive championship. And yeah, she was kind of like that, I guess, like role model when I was like younger. As I kind of like got back into long drive there. Um, for me, not gonna lie, I really, even to this day, I still really like look up to Phyllis Medes. She's a long driver professional, like 3-time world, ladies world long driver from, or sorry, I'm messing this up, but a 3-time world champion from New Zealand. And yeah, she's amazing to watch.
So I understand that in the beginning you were hitting with right-handed clubs, and you didn't find out till a little bit later that you were actually more power from your left side. Is that true?
No, no, no. When it just was, I was told to go take a break from working, about to work a double shift over at Buffalo Run, and I was given a right hand like set of clubs, like a driver and a iron. Went up to the range and I was like, like why is this so hard? And I don't know, I like came down maybe 5-10 minutes after, like I don't like this, like here, have these gloves back. I'm good. This is not my sport. And yeah, my uncle started asking me questions. He's like, why? How does it feel? I was like, it's like very unnatural. And that's when he asked me, like, wait, which way do you shoot in hockey? And I was like, oh, I'm lefty. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Gives me left-handed clubs, sends me back up. And yeah, totally different story.
That happens to a lot of Canadian folks, and that the realization that I'm way more comfortable shooting left-handed here. Yeah, more. I think there's more lefties in Canada than anywhere else, if I'm not mistaken. Uh,
Yeah.
what kind of challenges have you run into along the way? In terms of golf or on the golf course.
Mm, I think, hmm, oh, most definitely like fitting in. I obviously like don't want to fit in, but I just mean that in a sense of like, as an Indigenous two-spirit woman, I'm not really like, it's not normal to see a person like me at like a golf course. So I have found over the years it like, whether it's like not the best attitudes or the small incidents that of like being not welcomed, or just like challenges that I think a lot of like uh, minorities may face on the golf course. But um, yeah,
Is it getting better? Have you seen an improvement in terms of um, less
with
restrictive?
everything,
Yeah.
with like kind of just with everything going on in the world.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. That one's like so hard to say because you think about it, like what happened in United States with their last president there, it really like it really allowed people to be open about how they truthfully think or like
Hmm.
them as people. And so like I'm not saying it happens here in Canada, or I don't know. I feel like, mm, let me think about that one, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there maybe it's like microaggressions or like little things still do happen, but um I don't know. I feel like I kind of am aware of the places that haven't treated me best in the past. So I do go to like the places that do treat me really well. So I just kind of maybe I don't know. I kind of continue just to go to places that are welcoming. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I know that there are a number of people who are trying to make golf more inclusive, and there's a lot of people trying to make everything obviously more inclusive. But what's a home course?
Redwood Meadows Golf Club or
Okay,
Golf
where's that
Country
located?
Club. That's
Where's that
on
located?
Satana Nation.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
We got some video of you hitting some balls here now. Is this at Redwood or is this somewhere else?
Yeah, this is at Redwood. This is actually number two. Uh, yeah, so Satana Nation used to have two golf courses. They had Buffalo Run Golf Course. That's where I started. But due to the ring road, it's like, it's gone. It's a road now. But
Right.
Redwood Meadows is like the OG golf course for Satana Nation. It's like a semi, like private and public golf course. So anyone's welcome to come over and play around. But honestly, like this year, like all these greens are gone. Like they
Really?
redid the greens last year. Yeah. And like so the golf course plays totally different. And you know what? It's just surprisingly for it to be like, just out of Calgary there, it's honestly a great golf course. Like and just a challenging track. Like if you're in the trees, most likely you're not gonna know.
Yeah, not too many courses that have those forgiving trees, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's, what a great swing you had there. It's incredible. I'm thinking that it'd probably be nice to have Irene Crowchild on my foursome in a scramble.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess you get a lot of opportunities to do that.
Yeah, what's funny is like it's the boys from up north. They actually bring me up to go play in the men's scrambles because I could still hit from the ladies' tee, and so like, and then, yeah, so we've won a few tournaments.
So okay, so what's the furthest you've ever hit a ball?
Last year, honestly, maybe even this year, but like we didn't like record it. But last year, 353 over at just
353.
like, yeah, 353.
So you're driving a lot of par fours, especially from the Reds. You're driving over the back
Yeah.
on a few of
Yeah. Yeah.
them. So have you ever thought about pursuing a career in golf, like aside from long drive? But how's the short game? I guess is the question.
Um, Short game. I could surprisingly putt really well. Uh, and chipping is coming along, but you know what? I'm not bad. I'm in like the 80s, most definitely like high 70s. So, you know what? Like the thought of golf has always been there. I just haven't really like, how do you say it? Like, I don't train in golf, you know.
Mhm.
The only swing that I'm really working on is my long drive swing. So when I play in like scrambles or when I play in like league night, that's the only time I'm really golfing or like swinging the other clubs. And I'm not doing too bad. So oh yeah, but anyway, like yeah, I do want to pursue a career in golf. Like I think these past few years with being able to accomplish what I have, it kind of has shown me like, you know, there's endless possibilities out there as in like I'm aware of just with like hard work where it takes you. And um I always hear with the LPGA players is that like they do play the longer courses, so you know unfortunately sometimes their biggest challenge is the lack of yardage, which you know I'm not lacking.
Right.
If so like that's I have that, but like I got to become like accurate, right? So that is definitely a thought in the back of my head in the next few years.
So I'm thinking 353 yards for me. That's a driver 5 wood. Or maybe if I hit a really good drive, it's a driver 6 iron. But but you do have another career, obviously outside the long drive. But I want to touch on that a little bit. And you work with the Tsetena Nation, and tell us about that.
um no, I don't. I
Well, I
actually
thought
left my job.
you completely left your job just to pursue the long drive.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm sorry, but you used to work with the Tsetena Nation. Okay, uh, so this is. But I know that you it didn't take you long before you decided to pursue the career in long drive for you to make your mark. I mean, matter of fact, I believe was it not the first or second year that you were competing, you won the Canadian Championship.
Yeah, it was my first year.
There we
I
go.
haven't seen this video. Oh my god. Yeah, it was my first year, which is like a total shock. Like, and you know what? That driver that I'm using is a driver I bought 2 weeks before the competition. Never used it, never shot with it until that day. And that's when I hit a 310 bomb for the win. Nothing special
Wow.
about that driver, just a standard Golf Cobra driver.
And now, of course, you're fitted, and then you got the right weight and everything else for your driver. And now you won 2 Canadian championships. I understand you had a little bit of an injury issue recently. Is that a shoulder problem, perhaps? Is that what I heard?
No, that was back in 2019.
Okay.
Is when I tore part of my rotator cuff, and then I actually like aggravated my ECU tendon in my wrist, and that's kind of when I had to make that tough call of like, you know, it happened a month or a month and a half before the 2019 nationals. And yeah, I had to make that tough call to like sit out, not to defend my title. And yeah, but it's like crazy because like, you know, it's not nothing that, you know, I you know, it was just from like training too hard that like
Hmm.
I guess I tore it. And that itself was like just a big life lesson to like slow down. Like I was getting so tied up in this long drive stuff that I just kind of wasn't working on other areas of myself. And so it was just kind of like a lot of things on my journey or like about my story is just like funny how everything just kind of works out or is placed.
The this year's Canadian Championships, you ended up finishing third. What is there something? What? I mean, are you used to winning these things? What happened?
Honestly, I don't even, I don't know. Last year and this year both just kind of have lost in the semifinals. I think it's always just a, I don't know. I don't know if like this is normal as an athlete, but like there's just disappointment. Like, um, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it just didn't happen for you, is what it comes down to. I know that. I know that in long drive, there's, in addition to hitting the ball long, you also have to hit it within the lines, and you can get a. I mean, did you have some balls that you hit that if you had it kept them fair, they would have been winners for you? I mean, that happens.
Oh, oh yeah, most definitely. I was hitting the longest consistent balls of the day, and yeah, like you said, it's about hitting the grid and um yeah, the way that I don't know, the way that I'm remembering it right now. I had yeah, I wish I played my last set there a little bit different. When it comes to the six balls, I play too safe the first two at least to get into the grid, and then the last four is when I like, I do swing for them, like not like overly hard where I'm swinging out of my boots, but um, I give it a go, and unfortunately I'm not sure what happened, but my last four golf balls were like a low right, like a low hook, and that's very odd for me. And so
Mhm.
that kind of was like, oh yeah, and then also too, I was slipping on the grid, so that doesn't help too. But um, yeah, it happens.
Right. So slipping on the grid, is that you didn't have the right shoes, or you could have used more traction in your shoes? Is that
What's funny is like those are new spikes. I put on new spikes on my golf shoes. Um, it was wet, and like the conditions were wet. It was morning. Uh like our I think my longest ball was only 298, but it like I said, like the conditions were it like rained that night, and so I as long I don't know what could like be different. Like um you know I do have such a big swing where I'm moving in my feet that or my feet are moving, and like I guess I still haven't figured that out for myself of like, well, how can I prevent that, right? Like at the same time I don't want to be stuck in my shoes, like concrete. That's not
Mhm.
really how my swing works, but like I just put new spikes in, like what, like do I have to talk to like soft spike and like, guys, what's going on here? Jokes. But
Right.
yeah, so I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm not too sure.
Well, we're going to have to get the equipment engineers working on this one for you. All right, Irene. So somebody's going
Hmm.
to have to come up with the perfect
Yeah.
shoes for you. So you recently took part in the World Championships in Japan, where you finished 22nd. Did you feel like that was a solid accomplishment for you?
Um, I don't know. Honestly, I really wish that I did better. Feel like I had just, I don't know.
It was. I know that you were. You know, it was looking. We're really looking forward to the World Championships. However, I mean, even though you finished 22nd, you were the top left-hander in the competition, which is, you know, you take. I guess you take that bonus.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm really like grateful for the opportunity and like to go compete. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm like super thankful to have gone there, to be there. You know, considering where I was like 5.5 years ago, like, like, ah, it's amazing. Like, I was real thankful and like just happy to be there. Uh, about like my finish or like how I place, I don't know. I think, you know, maybe Joe, you get this, but I don't know why, like, being an addict, everything feels a little bit harder. Or like I feel everything like 10 times more than I feel like maybe a normal person would. But um like there's no doubt, like, you know, like I am able to do this because of like a lot of sponsorships and a lot of people supporting my way. And so I just kind of like feel like I wish I could have done better for the people who like supported me. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I get what you mean about the feelings. I mean, I look at you know, when I first got sober, I started to feel like I hadn't. Well, because I mean, you know, when you go for years of stuffing your feelings, and stuffing your feelings, and trying not to feel, and then all of a sudden now you've got nothing to fall back on, and you start to feel. But what I eventually learned was the feelings are okay, right? The feelings are good, and it's good to feel, and you know, we have our ups and we have our downs, and we go through some tough stuff, you know. But at the end of the day, I look at somebody who was, you know, like you said, 5.5 years. What's happened to you in five and a half years? You know, where you were and where you are now. I mean, you're competing at the World Championships. You're 22nd in the world. That's planet Earth, 7 billion people, and that's not too shabby, you
yeah.
know, considering where you were 6 or 7 years ago, right? I mean, that would have been
Yeah.
an absolute dream if you can imagine that, right? And there was the article I saw. Our buddy Rick Morasti forwarded this to me. Rick and I go way back to the boxing days in Alberta at the Native Friendship Center. But he, you were featured in Score Golf magazine. It was an amazing article and smashing all challenges. Being featured in Score Golf magazine, I'm thinking that probably, you know, for somebody like yourself, a golfer, there you are in front of Golf Town showing that off. Uh, what's you know, tell us about what it felt like for you be featured in that article.
That was like, that's still like, it's still crazy. Like, I actually have it hung up in like a frame here. I used to read this article, or not this article, I used to read this magazine when I worked at Buffalo Run. Like, I worked there from the age of 13 to like 18. And so Score Golf was, you know, like in every Canadian pro shop. And like, it's kind of cool that I, you know, like used to read the magazine. And, you know, once I got that golf bug around that 16 like age, that's kind of when, you know, you're flipping through the pages and you're like, man, like I want to be in a golf magazine. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy that it like happened. Like, uh, honestly, like everything, yeah, I just, it's just so surreal, like everything. Like I know that it's happening, but like I almost don't believe it.
What's next for Irene Crowchild?
What's next is honestly, what's next is I am putting my head down, like not like down, like I'm not like sad or anything, like I'm sad, but I just
Right.
mean like I'm putting my head down and I'm going straight back to work. You know, like with my, like I had the yardage, oh, I had the yardage and like all this stuff, but it was the consistency and you know, as a long driver or golfer, like we could always get better. And I feel like my last two losses here, like, you know, last year I lost, like, you know, Canadian nationals this year as well. And, you know, didn't, I guess, like, of course I have high standards for myself, right? I think we all
Mhm.
do, but I feel like I could have done better at world championships. And um, I'm just weirdly motivated. I'm hungry, you could say, and I'm just gonna take. I'm just gonna take like I don't know, like as soon as we came back home, and like even after the competition, I was like no, like I'm not gonna continue this, or like continue. Like something needs to change in my training style, obviously, and I think I'm gonna have to like Rocky Balboa it this winter.
All right, I could see it climbing the stairs in Philadelphia.
Oh no, you know when he's in Russia and he's like,
Oh
you
yeah,
remember when he's in Russia and he's like running through the snow?
yeah. That's more the Alberta style, right?
Yeah.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Not Rocky one, Rocky four. Gotcha. I will break you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because you got a chance to face all those international competitors, right? And I'm going to show them
Yeah.
this Canadian is going to come back and make some noise. We don't doubt that for a second. And you know, and again, Irene, you're just a tremendous story of you know, wonderful story of recovery. What can happen, you know, to somebody who you know does the thing, right? Does the deal, and you know moves on and takes it one day at a time. And you know, you
No.
have a dream, you pursue your dream. Why not? Why not? You know,
Yeah.
this year, 22nd. You know, next time around, number one. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you've got you're a tremendous inspiration. I know for sure. Have you know for the Indigenous community, for Canadians in general, for women, men everywhere, right? You're just a great inspiration, and I really appreciate you coming on the show to join us today.
No, thank you so much for having me. I was like I was definitely nervous about coming onto the show and I just appreciate this being such an easy conversation. Uh, and just like a flowing conversation. So thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Irene, and good luck. And we'll see you back at the Worlds next year and beyond. And we've got another Canadian Championship coming up real soon. I'm sure of that. But you
Yeah.
are a two-time Canadian champion. Well, let's not forget that, right? That's
Yeah.
pretty bloody awesome, I'd say. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Irene.
Thank you, Joe.
More sports when we come back. Thank you.
More Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show coming up after the break. Guests on Joe Tilley Sports receive a gift certificate from Classica Imports. Top of the line imported men's clothing. Check out the Classica Essential Collection now. Go to shopclassica.com. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Joe Tilley Sports is brought to you by COSA, Central Ontario Standardbred Association, providing a united voice for harness horse people racing at Ontario tracks. Check out your benefits today at COSAonline.com and check out COSA TV on Facebook and YouTube for all the latest harness news and live action updates. Live racing year-round. Go to hpibet.com for all your wagering options. Become a member today and your first bet is free. That's hpibet.com. Do you know why that happened? You didn't fix your ball mark. The birds around here are very protective of the course, and when people don't take care of it, this is what happens. It's pretty simple. Just find your mark, fix it, and at least one other. Hey, look at the bright side. We're not up on the northern course. They've got bears and moose. Visit moregolf.ca today. You'll find everything a golfer could need, from balls, gloves, and clubs to custom fitting opportunities and training gear. Go to moregolf.ca and get $20 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Just enter the promo code JTSports.
Coming into the stretch, and it's
Now
bankroll,
my
the one that
COSA Swiss pick of the week. Last time out, I went to Mohawk for Thursday night's 10th race. I took Almost There, Boss, with James McDonald driving. McDonald, who reached the $50 million mark in earnings that night, almost got there, Boss, to the front, but the favorite bankroll with Louis-Philippe Roy in the sulky hung on for the wire-to-wire victory. Still, I did pretty good with that place bet. This week, I'm going to Mohawk for Saturday night's final of the Metro Pace, Canada's biggest race for 2-year-olds, and I have to go with Save America. I also like an exacta with Moment is Here. Might as well box it. For all the racing updates, visit COSA TV on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Go to hpibet.com for your wagering options.
This is the Excellent Sports Adventure, brought to you by Lycom.
Some of the top 2-year-olds on planet Earth square off at Mohawk Saturday night in the $850,000 final of the Metro Pace. Last week's first eliminator, Save America, the 1-5 favorite with Yannick Gingras in the buggy. Slow to the wire, but what a finish. Let's pick up the call from Ken Middleton.
Coming to the final eighth of the mile, it is Save America as he scoots away to a lead of a length in deep stretch. It's Save America in the first Metro Pace elimination. Second Moment is Here. The rail third, Ace of Aces. Fourth outside, Hunt in the last.
Nancy Tactor, the trainer of Save America, who tied his career best time. 4th win in 5 starts. Gingras likes his chances in the final.
First couple starts here, he was a little bumpy at times, and last week he was too aggressive on top of that. But tonight he was. I got the horse back that I really loved at the beginning, Baby Racing, in his first couple starts at the medal, and he was a gentleman to drives, 2-finger. I did whatever I wanted with him, and no steps, you know what I mean? So that was good too, but he was loaded with pace. You know, he only won by a length, but I never really called on him, didn't kick the plugs, you know, so we saved some for next week.
Sealster plugs
In the second elimination, the favorite, Stockade Sealster, grabbed an early lead, and it looked like he might go wire to wire, but watch out for ticker tape Hanover on the outside, and the long shot. Tip Top Cat on the inside. Here's Ken with the call.
Sealster scooting up the rail comes Tip Top Cat, and it's Tip Top who? Tip Top Cat, that's who. Tip Top Cat was 31-1. In 150-1, he had more than 9 lives.
Yes, Tip Top Cat, trained by Greg McNair, driven by his son Doug McNair, combining with Ticker Tape Hanover for a $322 exacta. What a closing quarter by the 31-1 shot with McNair in the buggy.
I didn't really like him as 2 starts ago. You know, he just, we got stopped up a couple times, but he never really paced through the wire. And last week, if anybody watches replay, he raced real good. He just got, I thought he was 5th, he was 6th, but he got a big last quarter, and he showed he's a pretty nice colt.
In tough tonight against the previously undefeated Stockade Sealster. At what point did you think you had a shot to win?
Around the last turn, he felt pretty good. I mean, there's 2 nice colts he was following, but I just want to get him qualified for the final. I wasn't expecting to win, that's for sure.
One of the premier events on the Canadian Thoroughbred calendar, the $1 million Rico Woodbine Mile, a Breeders' Cup win, and you're in, featuring a star-studded 11-horse field on that beautiful E.P. Taylor turf course. Get Smokin' came smoking out of the gate, but the horse to watch for was Modern Games, the only 3-year-old in the field, last year's juvenile turf winner at the Breeders' Cup. Looking to book his ticket, here's Robert Geller.
You can cash your ticket. Modern Games by 5 lengths. Ivar's second, third Finest Sound, fourth Shell Spite, and then Town Cruise Mighty Heart, and the rest headed by Wakanaka, 132.77.
William Buick, the rider of Modern Games. Charles Appleby trains this superstar colt for Godolphin Stables. Modern Games, the first 3-year-old to win the Rico Mile, earning a trip back to the Breeders' Cup. Look out.
He's got bigger. He's filled out. He's very strong. He's a very strong horse. Now, he was last year, but he's got bigger and stronger this year. He just retains all the ability in the world. You know, he's a real fast ground specialist. You know, the faster the ground, the better for him. And as you saw there, when he changes gears, he's got a lot of speed. So, yeah, he's a real fast miler.
Jockey Rafael Hernandez and trainer Kevin Attard teamed up with Last Call in the Johnny Walker Natama Stakes. Speaking of last calls, that trophy didn't quite make it home.
We could use another Johnny Walker refill in here. But anyways.
Yeah, got to be more careful with those trophies, Kev. All right, after being named the American League's Player of the Week, Bo Bichette was not done there. No, not at all. The Jays shortstop followed up with one of the biggest hits of his career, a 2-out, 2-run belt in the bottom of the 8th against the rival Rays, gave the Jays a come-from-behind win in this huge series with Tampa. This after Bo took a dangerous brushback pitch a few innings earlier. That was a massive hit. Well, it took him a couple of weeks, but Vlad Guerrero Jr. finally whacked his 100th career homer at 23 and a half years of age. He becomes the youngest Blue Jay in history to reach that magical mark as the Bluebirds make it 3 out of 5 against the visiting Rays. Now, Jays with a chance to paint the Orioles out of the playoff picture. George Springer is back in the groove with a line shot up the wall. Kevin Biggio and Santiago Espinal score on the double by George. Then Springer does it on D. A sinking liner. Looks like trouble, but the center fielder dives in. What a catch! Jose Barrios and 44,000 fans giving the standing O. Jays take 2 out of 3 from Baltimore. Well, don't count the Ticats out just yet. They came and they rallied and they looked pretty good. That was some effort against the 2-time defending champion from Winnipeg. Dane Evans from the pocket. He's going to air it out for DeAndre Smith. Wide open. Smith has a 54-yard touchdown. First CFL score for the former Guelph Griffin. And yes, that called for a flip. Evans completed 25 of 32 passes for 327 yards. A career high, 5 touchdowns. Cats done the Bombers 48-31. They're 4-9 with a big game coming up against Montreal. Winnipeg falls to 12-2. The Canadian Football Hall of Fame opened its doors to several former greats, including quarterback Ricky Ray, who won Grey Cups in Toronto and Edmonton. Also getting the nod were linebacker Chip Cox, kicker Paul McCallum, fullback Tim Tinsdale, Dickie Thornton, who played on both sides of the ball, Dave Ritchie, Keith Evans, and Roy Shivers all enter in the Builders category. The hero of the 1972 Summit Series was holding court. Yes, Paul Henderson was at the NHL's alumni lunch, and there was a heck of a turnout to see the Team Canada and Leafs legend. This group included several folks who made the trip to Moscow back in 1972. They did a wonderful job of inspiring the Canadian side to victory. Henderson was asked if he's disappointed that he's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But Henny, who's
and this is the truth.
Virtually in every other hall, says he's cool.
Hall of Fame that have better careers than I am. And it doesn't bother me one iota that I'm not in the Hall of Fame. I've got every other award in the whole confound of the world. But that is the truth. They put me in, nobody's going to be upset anymore. Forget it. Keep me out.
They'd still be talking about you, Paul, believe me. More big wins by Canadians on the tennis court. Vasek Pospisil and Felix Auger-Aliassime teamed up to beat the favored Spanish side in Davis Cup play. FAA also scored a win over Serbia, so Canada has made it through to the quarterfinals. Ottawa's Gabriela Dabrowski and her Brazilian partner won the Chennai Open in India, the women's doubles title. Way to go. Well, you can kiss Toronto FC's playoff hopes goodbye. The Reds were throttled 4-0 in Orlando. They are winless in 4 and have been officially eliminated from postseason play. A couple of awesome fight cards promoted by United Promotions back-to-back at the CAA Center in Brampton. Joshua Fraser continues to be one of the busiest young fighters in the country. The former amateur champion proved to 6-0 with a 6th straight knockout win over a game opponent from Mexico. Brandon Cook made his return after a 2.5-year hiatus. Sandeep Singh is now 13-0 and has added another title along with Mark Smithers. Ricardo Brown also remained undefeated. Melinda Watpool won her pro debut. Hamilton Spencer Wilcox is now 4-0 after a first-round TKO over his Mexican opponent at a fight card at Rebel Entertainment. Canadian boxing, folks, yes, is alive and well. Now, our shot of the week, our pal golfing pal Rod Black at the Panthers hockey fundraiser. He witnessed his playing partner John Stolas, who is coach of the under-13 team, knock in an ace.
God damn it. 4!
Oh, you're kidding me. Look at that. Hey, John Stolley. Well, how many hole-in-ones have you ever had?
That's my first.
And tell us when you saw it. What happened when you saw it in the air?
Well, I knew it was going in. We just lost sight of it, and so it obviously was in the ball.
Take a picture.
Hey, you know what the best news is, John? You just won closest to the pin.
I think I'm good.
Closest in the hole. And you know what? More than anything, we needed that eagle.
Oh, did we ever?
How about that? There's your first, brother. Show us. There you go. Show that ball right there. Save that ball. Congratulations. Here at the Central York Panthers tournament.
Today's environmental tip: use less electricity. Power plants release harmful chemicals, including greenhouse gases. The process of extracting fossil fuels from the earth destroys natural habitats. Water usage to provide steam and cooling contributes to water shortages.
Rycom, passionate people who turn complicated business problems into simplified technology solutions for public and private sector real estate, properties, portfolios, and enterprise customers. Optimize and future-proof smart buildings from the ground up. The latest in fault locating, base building network design, managed services, cybersecurity, data analytics. Our fault detection will support all smart strategies, define projected outcomes for capital planning, and reduce environmental impact. Rycom, smart protection solutions. At Rycom, we're building a path to a smart and environmentally friendly future. And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great people. We highly recommend them all. A reminder that the show is Also available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and Pocket Cast, as well as the Spanglish Network, Zingo TV, and Buzz TV Live. Also, you really want to check out our YouTube channel. There are past shows available, weekly sportscasts, all kinds of cool segments, updated every day. Like and subscribe. It's free. Thanks once again to Irene Crowchild for being on the show. Thank you for watching, and join us next week when we celebrate our 100th episode. We'll see you then.
Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in the early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. Let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Do you want to buy or sell a home? Could 31 years of real estate experience help you? Why not speak to an amazing team that loves to overpromise and overdeliver? Aldo has a tremendous team of experts on staff. They are committed to making your next real estate transaction smooth and comfortable. Call 416-GET-ALDO or visit getaldo.com. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more. Hi, I'm Joe Tilley. This November, join me and my wife Penny Claire for a trip of a lifetime. 2 weeks in Egypt and Jordan. Imagine yourself riding a camel beside the Great Pyramids, cruising the Nile River, viewing the temples at Abu Simbel, exploring the desert at Wadi Rum, visiting the ancient city of Petra, and swimming in the world-renowned Dead Sea. Only $41.99 all-inclusive, with direct flight from Toronto, free upgrade to 5-star hotels, and the cruise. Visit tripoppo.com and book today to get an extra $100 room bonus credit. Let's travel.
The UPS store in Brooklyn wants to help your small business thrive. We offer shipping and more, like our pack and ship guarantee. Plus, we offer graphic design services, fast digital printing, secure document shredding, and mailboxes with a real address. Visit 31 Baldwin Street in Brooklyn, Ontario. Say you saw this on Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show, and we'll tell you how to save 10% every day.